Have you ever had an idea or a thought, and then you said to yourself, I'll get to that later. And then when later comes, you completely forgot what it was all about. Look, even the great artist Leonardo da Vinci was not immune to procrastination and its effects. Over the course of 16 years, da Vinci painstakingly worked on the painting Mona Lisa, adding layer after layer of paint. However, he never truly completed the work, and it remains one of the most famous unfinished paintings in the world. The picture never reached its intended buyer, and da Vinci never received payment for it. 99% of the failures come from people who have a habit of making excuses. George Washington Carver. In this video, you'll be exploring an inspiring story about leadership and assuming responsibility. Through this story, you'll learn that leadership is not just about delegating tasks to others, but also about taking responsibility for them. How putting the blame on others won't go anywhere, and how you can untap your potential. Welcome to Untapping Your Potential, where we will share with you motivational stories, motivational favorite comeback stories, and public speaking tips that will keep it growing and inspire you to take action. Once upon a time, nestled in a picturesque valley surrounded by rolling hills and babbling streams, there lay an old-fashioned village. The village was a tranquil place where the pace of life was unhurried, and the people were content with their simple existence. The villagers lived in a small thatched cottage, each with a well-tended garden bursting with colorful flowers. At the center of the village stood a magnificent castle, tall and imposing, with turrets that reached up to the sky. For generations it had been home to kings and queens, and now it was being ruled by a beautiful young queen. One day, the queen was eating rice cakes and honey with her chief advisor on her balcony. As they ate, a drop of honey landed on the balcony railings as the queen was pointing at something in the distance. The chief advisor asked if he should call a servant to clean it up, but the queen only laughed and told him that it was not her problem, because it was just a drop of honey and someone will come and clean it later. They continued eating and chatting as the drip of honey began to slowly drip down and landed on the busy street below. The advisor once again called the attention of the queen and told her that the honey has now fallen into the street and is now attracting flies. But just like last time, the queen yawned and replied that a little drop of honey that is swarmed by a few flies is not her problem. She added that somehow, someone would deal with it later. Soon after that, a lizard rushed out from beneath the palace wall and began to catch flies with his tongue. Then a cat sprang from a nearby bakery, ready to have some fun. The two animals batted each other back and forth like toys, until suddenly an angry butcher's dog came charging at them and began biting the cat's neck. The advisor now reminded the queen that the flies attracted the lizard, which then attracted the cat, who was now being attacked by a dog. But once again, the queen just stretched and shook her head. She told her advisor, look, relax. And those silly fighting animals are not her problem. When the baker saw the animals fighting, he saw that a dog was attacking his cat. He then ran out with his rolling pin and began hitting the dog. When the butcher heard his dogs cry, he ran out with his broom and started hitting the baker. Soon after that, the butcher and the baker started fighting each other, while the other shopkeepers nearby took sides and joined the fight. When the soldiers came along, some of them knew the butcher, while some knew the baker, and they also took sides, and the battle just grew and grew in the streets. The people began throwing rocks at the windows, tipping over carts, hurtling a torch through a window, and eventually a fire raged and spread through the palace. The queen and the advisor were escorted out of the palace into the street below because the flames spread throughout the palace. Later that day, when the fire had died out, they surveyed what remained of their land, and suddenly the queen stopped in front where her balcony once stood and noticed a small puddle on the ground. she realized that it was the honey and told herself that she should have cleaned it from the start. Now, all her kingdom was in shambles, all because of a drop of honey. From that day on, the queen never said, "It's not my problem." You cannot escape the responsibility of tomorrow by evading it today. Abraham Lincoln. The queen's dismissive attitude towards the honey may have seemed harmless at first, but it ended up causing a chain of reaction of events that ultimately led to the ruining of her kingdom. It's amazing how one small thing can lead to a bigger and bigger problem. The queen and her advisor learned valuable lessons that day, like lessen the procrastination. If we wait for the moment when everything, absolutely everything is ready, we shall never begin. Ivan Turgenev, Russian novelist. It's a myth. There's no such thing as the perfect timing to get started. Procrastination can lead to a number of negative consequences, including missed opportunities, increased stress, and poor performance. Procrastinating leaders can negatively influence those who look up to you and instill status quo thinking among everyone involved. So it is crucial for leaders to focus on ways to avoid these bad habits. By high performance, you don't mean just completing your goals. You should overperform. Doing extra work always helps you stand out from the crowd. It makes your managers count on you more and depends on you for tasks that require you to put extra effort into them. By taking action early on and not putting things off, you can avoid these negative consequences and achieve your goals more effectively. Learn to take responsibility. No individual raindrop ever considered itself responsible for the flood. John Ruskin. Taking responsibility for even the smallest of things can prevent much bigger issues down the line. The queen's refusal to take responsibility for the honey on her balcony and the ensuing conflict ultimately led to the downfall of her kingdom. Since you cannot turn back time to correct a wrong, it's a good idea to learn from it and avoid making the same mistakes again. Being responsible as a leader means you know how to respond to situations maturely and professionally, while also being able to perform and complete the task given to you. You don't pawn off all the responsibilities or all the failures onto your team or subordinates if you continually miss deadlines or essential project parameters. You don't pretend that it is all out of control. If your employer or team is failing, you don't stick your head into the sand and stay in denial. You proactively do something about it and avoid blaming others. Average people place blame. Exceptional people take responsibility. Craig Valentine. Blaming others doesn't solve the problem at hand. Instead, it often leads to a blame game when no one takes responsibility for finding a solution. This can waste valuable time and energy that can be used to address the issue. By saying "it's not my problem" more often, nothing gets done and could create a negative environment. It's true that the problem might not be on your plate now, but it might come. And worse yet, someone else is going to get criticized. Change starts with you. So don't be that "not my problem" person. Assume responsibility. Don't procrastinate and take action. Learn from this experience. It's easy to overlook the small things in life and assume that someone else will take care of them. But as the story shows, even the tiniest drop of honey can have significant consequences if left unattended. So remember to lessen the procrastination, learn to take responsibility, and avoid blaming others. An excuse is a way of promising ourselves that we will have the same issue again. Henry Cloud. Thanks for watching this video. How would you like to hear more motivational stories on a consistent basis? Do me a favor, support the channel by sharing, comment below, and please make sure to like and hit that subscribe button to get the latest updates. Soon, you will be on your way to feeling